What's poppin', yo? They must have something else in the Harlem water because it has birthed some really cocky personalities that I'm personally quite fond of. For example, Rocky, right? Rocky, I think he toes a good line between cocky, but also like got that charm. So it's not cocky to where it's abrasive. It's like, oh, that's a cool guy. Jim Jones, on the other hand, he was cocky also in a way that where he's puffing his chest out and put on a lot of trends historically, but he's also the type of cocky where you're like, yo, why the hell did you do that? Why is your ego so big? For instance, I'll give you guys a recent example before we get into Jim Jones talking about being better than Nas, which is like, what? But a recent example was when Jim Jones was rolling around with Ye. If you guys remember last year, Jim Jones was around Ye frequently, and Ye messes with Jim Jones. So one of the things that happened was Jim Jones was able to get a deal for, I think, an M, maybe 2 M's or something. He got a big finder's fee for connecting Ye with this crypto company that wanted to do a deal with him. All he had to do was connect them and he was going to get a bag. So he did that. And then Ye talked about that later about like Jim Jones betraying him, like taking a big deal, like just trying to leech off of him or use the closeness and the proximity that he had to him to make money off of him. And then Ye talks about, or Jim Jones talks about how Ye wanted him to mock up some PDF for him, the file, not the replacement for the word. And he was like, yo, I'm not going to make no PDF for somebody. And it's just, wait, what? So you're rolling around with Ye. It's clearly not about the music. Now, yeah, you've got taste, but you're not in that pedigree to be around Ye, and he's asking you to help him with something. And if you're his friend, why don't you just help him? Not to mention, you made an M off of the dude. Hey, if my homie's like, yo, can you make me a PDF for this? I'll be like, what do you need me to do? Especially if the person's busy and I'm at their company or something like that. Now, if they're just sitting there and they're ordering me to do it, and it's a different dynamic, of course. But yeah, I'd do that. Why wouldn't I help a friend? Especially if I knew how to do something. Now, would I trust Joe Budden? Would I trust Jim Jones to do something like that? I don't know. I don't know if he's proficient at it. I don't know if he's capable of doing it. But it's a simple task that just goes to show you're there to benefit and to use the person. And you're not even trying to contribute any type of value. And you feel like certain jobs, quote unquote, are beneath you. And it's okay to feel that about certain grunt work, but a PDF, that's something different. He's not telling you to fetch some coffee for him. And even then, Ye was doing that when he was interning at, I think, was it Fendi? One of those brands. It escapes me. I've written about it before. But Jim Jones starts to talking about Nas and just outright lying on Nas. So if you guys are unfamiliar with Jim Jones, you shouldn't be. He had the song We Fly High. He had one song. This was in 2006, 2007. However, that's nationally speaking and internationally as well. But if we're talking New York, especially Harlem, yeah, Jim Jones is a New York legend. He's got verses. He was with Dipset. He's had an influence. He's still in the game. But when you're talking musically, this is what he had to say on Fat Joe's podcast with Jadakiss. And he said this with a straight face about Nas. And I had to make a stank face. I'm gonna play you guys that clip right now. This is appalling.
There's a big gap there, you know what I mean? I want people to understand that. So when Shorty's telling people that, yeah, he's 20-some years old. That goes to show the part of the era that he's in, that I came into light and started going crazy, that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them know. But you know what I mean? A lot of them know.
Yes. But it's the era.
Some music.
No.
There's some kids that.
No, I love that.
There's some kids that love hip-hop.
20, so I mean,
but he's your son.
He's your son.
He's your son.
No, but he knows.
My son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck here. Yeah, but let's keep it a buck. You heard? Let's keep it a buck because they'll bring it up. There must be some type of misconception or what's that word? When it comes to Jim Jones and what Jim Jones have done in this game. A lot of these rappers,
we made him take the darkies off.
A lot of these rappers have done a tremendous job, and I take nothing away from them. But they forget I got a hell of a catalog. Me, Jim Jones, myself, gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, and check all them niggas' entries and shit. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but I hear the comparisons and the niggas trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries and pull up my billboard.
So the nerve, the gall to just outright, I don't know if he's lying or if he believes what's coming out of his mouth. Number one, your son knows more about Nas than he does about you. None of your son's classmates are talking about like, yo, that Jim Jones song. None of them. Zero. Zilch. At all. Yeah, you're talking about my son doesn't know who Nas is. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know your music. Unless you were probably playing it to him, making sure that he knew it, teaching it to him. Your son knows Nas. And he talks about plaque versus plaque. He must be talking about dental plaque or something, because Jim Jones really has one certification. That's the platinum record for We Fly High, which was a hit, undoubtedly, but that's what people remember him for. Ballin'. That's it. And even in New York, people are like, yo, what happened to that Ballin' guy? He had that one hit. And that went platinum on 2 different records, because I think he was on Koch Records and then he was on some other record label. So that's platinum. And then he had a gold song, Pop Champagne, which, keep in mind, that song released that same year or the year after. And it's been how many years since then? And it still hasn't gone platinum? It's been like 10 plus years. And this was at a time when people were buying records. This is 2007. So there was no streaming. So 2009, this went gold. And it's been 16 years since, and it hasn't gone platinum. So clearly people aren't bumping it. And then he's got the We Set the Trend song with the Migos, which I actually kind of mess with, and that's gold. But Nas has gold and platinum albums just in the past couple of years with King's Disease. I'm pretty sure one of those has gone gold at least. So Nas musically washes Jim Jones any Sunday, Monday through Sunday. And anybody that would even bring up that argument just goes to show, like, this is the type of cocky where you're like, what is wrong with you? Like, for example, if you put Rocky there, he's not even going to think to say something like that. Yet Jim Jones does it. It's like, what the hell? But after this, Jim Jones gets on Shannon Sharpe's podcast, the Midnight podcast that he does with Ultra Cinco. And I'm going to play you guys this clip because Shannon Sharpe calls him out. He's like, yo, you're tweaking. There's no way you said this, right? This you, bro? And yeah, let me just play you guys that clip.
The more I bless people, the more I get blessed. And it's just a testament of hard work and being resilient and being real with yourself. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
You smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit. Well, as far as let's get this right. I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that
but
bullshit.
listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Mm-hmm. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
ain't no shame in that. There a lot of more folks came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit. I used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that. Like, I don't.
Man, go ahead on with that, Jim.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm being honest. You ask me, I'm being a fan. I'm telling you, the movie Belly was fire, but after that, he kind of lost me. I think we was way too much into the game. Remember how this goes. You ever heard of a Kufi list?
Yeah.
Yo, go back into your history and find out what happened between us and him. You dig? And I'm not trying to repeat history, but don't play with us when it comes to that, bro. We already went wild on them boys. You heard? We the ones that went wild on them boys, you heard?
Hey, Jim.
Yo, and people out here acting like I said I'm going to bring the Kufi list back. I just told you I'm a changed man. Step of the law, Key, you dig?
Nah, look, I'm put it to you like this, Jim. Hey, bro, you been at this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a step.
So now we got Jim Jones switching it up. He's like, nah, like my influence, like I feel like people don't give me credit for that. Whoa. Rewind. First, he was talking about, yo, check the plaques, check the billboards. We check the billboards. You're nowhere to be found. It's tumbleweeds. It's cobwebs, it's spider eggs, it's any number of other things that show nothing is there. You don't got no billboard entries? Like 1 or 2? Barely any in comparison to Nas, of course. And Nas is somebody that is not like a billboard charting artist, but he's still more musically relevant than Jim Jones in the past 10 years. King's Disease 1, 2, 3, he got back on it with Hit Boy. They won Grammys together. Does Jim Jones even get invited to the Grammys, let alone to be nominated? Like, come on now, man. What are we doing here? And yeah, I like the full court press that Shannon Sharpe is applying, because he's like, no, hold on, you're not gonna do this with us. And of course, Jim Jones trying to wrestle his way out of it, and then Jim Jones starts to turn it into like some potential street thing. He's like, nah, we was influenced by Nas because he had these clothes. It's like, dog, we're talking about rap, okay? Like, we don't care if you wore some fashion before somebody else. That's not what started this. If Jim Jones was talking about, like, yeah, I was wearing chrome, like Nas wasn't really wearing chrome, we would have just nodded our heads like, yeah, okay, But you started talking about, like, yo, check the plaques, check the billboards, check the music. Nobody's listening to Nas, they're listening to me. They're not listening to you. This clip of Jim Jones speaking, and Jim Jones speaking has probably done more streams than Jim Jones music in the past couple of years. And this is the beautiful thing. We could pull up stats. Let's just pull up monthly listeners while we still have it. This is why they should not be getting rid of that stat. I enjoy that stat a lot. Who the hell is listening to Jim Jones right now? This guy's got 860,000 monthly listeners. And of course, We Fly High, number 1. We Fly High, number 3. We set the trends with the Migos. Hey, are we joking? And Jim Jones recently dropped an album, I think, at the church steps. And that did what, like 4K first week? I don't even think that's done 4K total. Yeah, this album hasn't even sold 10K copies yet. And this dropped in February. Hey, what are we doing here, man? This is appalling. This is absolutely appalling. But it continues. So Shannon Sharpe starts to really, really get into him. And then Jim Jones's reply is just hilarious. I'm going to play you guys that right now.
Look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the things
I can be in the church house. You can't F with Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, y'all know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas. You're not seeing Nas, bro. Let's be real.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Ain't nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
Hold on,
Jim.
Hold on.
That shirt too tight.
Hold on.
Jimmy. You want to go back to I really mean it? I really mean it started. We could go back to the history, bro.
But you didn't even say that,
bro. Don't do that, bro. That shirt
I
be sticking up for Nas.
I got a question.
Let Nas stick up for itself and meet me in a booth for something if we want to do something historical.
Nas say he don't do that no more. Nas say he don't do that
because he got $100 million. He's a very wealthy man. You heard he's a very smart businessman. He got a couple business licks.
So Jim Jones suddenly turns into the biggest Nas fan. Like, yo, I can name more Nas tracks than you. Like, yo, name a Nas record.
I can sing more Nas records than you right now. So you are capping. You are capping. That's what you're doing.
First of all, bro,
you are capping. I'm a bigger Nas fan than you are. You are capping.
First of all, I'm 57. I don't be singing no rap. I don't be singing no rap.
You see what I'm saying, Ocho? He don't even know about rap. He just doing this for the views to get Jim Jones on there to get him hot. I understand, but you don't
get
know
him hot.
You don't know Nas.
You better check the podcast space. Now you better talk.
Sing 16.
Hey, this is the biggest podcast you ever been on.
Name one Nas record.
This is the biggest podcast you ever been on.
Do you know
the podcast you've been on better than this one?
Hold on. We off topic.
Hold on. This is what I do. You see
name a podcast you've been on bigger than this one. When you get big, you get invited to Club Shay Shay.
This is what I do.
Nas get invited to Club Shay Shay. Jadakiss get invited to Club Shay Shay. You not on that level yet, bro.
It's for little young white girls. Chill out. Chill out. Don't play with me, bro. Chill out.
Off topic.
You dealing with the wrong one, bro.
Right here, bro.
I don't care nothing about nothing that shit you got to say, bro. You might as well take me off this shit.
We here. You can't out
Leave
talk
me alone, bro.
You might can out rap me, but you can't out talk me.
Don't nobody want to go to Club Shay Shay. Nobody want to buy no VIP tickets to that shit. Nobody rushing to go to that shit.
You ain't got nothing you ever been on.
Club Shay Shay.
Hey,
you do got a good podcast.
You get an invite.
You do got a good podcast.
Nobody listening to me.
The podcast is tremendous. You and Ocho do your thing, but don't get it twisted, bro. I don't care nothing about no fucking.
I just named 3 Nas records. What the hell? King's Disease 1, 2, 3. We got Nostradamus. We've got It Was Written. We've got Illmatic. We've got Magic. I think that was like the 7-track EP that he did with Hit Boy. Someone, and then Shannon not being able to name them as well. Him expecting Shannon to not be able to name them. And then he tries to make it seem like, yo, ain't nobody really messing with this podcast anyway. It's the type of thing where like somebody hollers at a chick and then they're like, man, ain't nobody wants you anyway just because you got rejected. Like, dog, you're on a big podcast. Like, you're not going going to cap. Like, oh man, nobody cares about Club Shay Shay. Dog, are we serious? And this is the problem, man. They at least I think it's Jim Jones hangs out in Harlem too much. Like, he gets too much love. Because if you guys remember, Jim Jones is still really in these streets in terms of affiliated, hanging out with the same type of guys when he was younger, even though I think Jim Jones is in his 50s, because he was on some of those calls that we heard during the 6ix9ine case. So I think he's just hanging around Harlem so much, and people show him so much love out there that he doesn't realize, outside of that bubble, nobody cares about you. Nobody even thinks to care or know what you've got going on a regular basis, unless it involves something else. So for you to come out and say Club Shay Shay, don't nobody care about that. What? Who are you? And then why would you get on there as well? And this was Midnight Cap that he was on, not Club Shay Shay. But this is how you know. This is the type of individual you don't want to do favors for. You don't want to help this type of person. You're like, you know what? Just leave him over there. And that's largely what happened to Jim Jones for most of his career. Like, there was like a 15-year period before we saw another song from him come out in like 2021 or 2022 that he got with the Migos. I mean, I'm surprised he's still alive and kicking. Not his career to a degree. Although, is his career alive and kicking? The guy dropped an album this year and it hasn't even sold 8K copies yet. Man, actually, get out of here, man. But let me know what y'all think about this. I like Jim Jones historically too. Just, they were a part of an era. They were history. But Jim Jones, musically, does not hold up. There are 100 other New York rappers that precede Jim Jones. Now, they didn't have a hit as big as We Fly High, but if we're talking about like quality of music and consistency and longevity of like, hey, they've dropped stuff that was doing well for years, there's at least 50 other New York rappers. I think 100 is a lot, because I don't think I'd be able to name the 100. It would take me a while. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.